Okay, thank you for introduction and kind invitation to this precious opportunity. So my name is Naomi Shimpo. I'm working for University of Tsukuba, and more than 10 years, I'm working on the topic of allotment gardens and community gardens or urban gardening. In Japanese, maybe toshigata noen or toshino no. So today I'd like to show the changing laws and governance of allotment and community gardens in urban settings. I hope you will enjoy. So many Japanese people might have seen this kind of landscape. So this is typical allotment garden in Japan. So you can see small plots where people plant vegetables, a lot of vegetables. So this is typical landscape. But this was originally, the concept of this garden was taken from German allotment gardens like this. So this looks very different, but the concept was taken here actually. So in 1920s, many scholars or administrative people went to Germany and England and other countries to take many ideas in technology or science. And then some people thought, oh, this allotment garden is good for urbanized area to keep, to enhance people's health and well-being. And then they started to make allotment gardens in Japan. Actually, there are so many stories about the origin of allotment gardens in Europe, but mostly this is the main one of popular story. So in Industrial Revolution times, people suffered from the problem of health because of too dense cities. So many people came from rural area into the city, and the city made really dense, and people had to live in one single apartment room with many people like that, and factories are there, so the air condition was not so good. So people needed place for keeping their health. And then allotment gardens started. So first it was for children, but eventually adults had more interest, and it became gardens for families. It was in the end of the 19th century. And then in Japan, one of the mayor of Osaka city accepted the concept for health of urban residents as well. So it's Seki Hajime. He also made Midosuji in Osaka. And he thought this is really important urban space for keeping health. So he wanted to introduce their concept, and then first allotment garden in Osaka was established. Actually, before that, it seems there was allotment gardens in Kyoto, but I'm not sure. I don't have much knowledge about it, so I cannot mention it. But anyway, Japan has Japanese allotment gardens started like this. And after that, in many developed countries, people had food shortage. So allotment gardens or any kind of space, vacant space were used for food production. Okay. You can see many posters here, and also on the right, you can see national diet. In front of national diet, you can see potato fields. And in the middle, you can see England's situation. And on the bottom, you can see circle. So this circle is actually a crater made by bomb. So they made garden after bombing. Okay. And then after World War II, in Western and Northern Europe, mostly allotment gardens were started to use for recreational purpose. So if you go there, you can see not only vegetable fields, but also many flower beds and also swimming pool or trampoline. Okay. And these photos are actually Vienna's allotment gardens, and people can live there now. And people can get permanent address or even purchase a plot, depending on the case. And because in former times, allotment gardens were made around the city area, dense city area, but now the urbanized area expanded a lot. So originally the city boundary was here, around here, and allotment gardens are located after out of the former city areas, but now we can say they are located inside urbanized area because of the expansion of the city. So it's really easy to go there. So they have good accessibility from the city center, and it's good for recreational use. And back to Japan, from around the 1970s, also Japanese allotment gardens started to expand and also used for recreational purpose. But it had also another purpose, which means conservation of farmland. So different from European cities, Japanese cities didn't have city wall, so city could expand very freely. So, and also landowners or farmers, some farmers sold their land, but some farmers didn't to keep their land. And then this kind of a mixture of rural and urban land use was created, happened. And then some of farmers started to use their farmlands as allotment gardens. And they didn't do farming by themselves, but they rent a plot to urban residents to keep their farmlands in some way. And now it seems interest in growing health, food, environmental education, social cohesion is growing, and because of that, there are plenty of variety of urban gardens. So this is self-harvest garden in Munich. So this is quite similar to Japanese allotment gardens eventually. So people grow vegetables here and they have no house inside close. And this is Berlin community garden. In Berlin, there are so many community gardens, and urban people use vacant lands to make gardens. So sometimes often they are very temporary land use, but people are enjoying gardening and make community. And in Japan, it's rare case, but you can find some community gardens as well. And this is the community garden using farmland, and surrounding people collect organic waste and use for fertilizer, and also children were invited for environmental education, and they make good community here as well. So the role of urban gardening is expanded very widely, and you can hold various events for everyone, and you can also have cafe in your garden. So very flexible use of the space can be seen now. And this is the photos of my garden inside Tsukuba University. And 2 years ago, we invited goats to the garden, and it was used for education materials for art students. And also, of course, people living in surrounding area came to the garden, and it was good for communication too. So this kind of activity is also possible. And for disaster prevention or mitigation, urban gardening is also getting popular now. There are some reasons. One is such gardens can provide alternative food system. So people can secure fresh food by themselves, and sometimes even water from a well. So if something happens in supermarket or network, you can get food in emergency case. And also it's open space without building usually, so people can evacuate there. So we can secure open space for temporary evacuation in built up areas. And then flood prevention or mitigation is one possible reason. So we can secure unpaved land as a garden. So it's good for infiltration in case of heavy rain. So these are photos of Kumamoto earthquake. So after earthquake, the city was like this, and people had to move to evacuation area because their houses are collapsed. And some people made this kind of tent in public areas like public park or schoolyard. And so in that case, the gardens, allotment gardens or community gardens might be also a possible place to make this evacuation place. And also against pandemic, urban gardens have meanings. So again, they can provide food system, and also for mental stress relief, people can have recreational space where you can have social distance and touch plants. And also physical health promotion, you can exercise by gardening. And in Japan, actually, the demand of allotment gardens increased significantly before and after the state of emergency this year. So it seems people are recognizing this function. This is one of example of allotment gardens owned by private company, and monthly rent is quite expensive, but still the demand is growing. And this is the last slide. So to start or manage such urban gardening places, we have to consider about governance, who manage. Okay. And such governance trend is changing from formal to informal. And traditional pet gardens were also informal stuff at the beginning, but it got legal status in the history gradually. And now they are mostly controlled by municipalities and secured in principle. But sometimes it can be turned into built land, but mostly secured. On the contrary, emerging urban gardens are developed both in bottom-up or top-down approaches. So it's really gradational, and there are many cases. And they are initiated sometimes without official permission to use the land. So it's really insecure land use. And the gardens are often operated in new collaboration of students and municipality, and they are often temporary land use. So the governance trend is changing, so we have to consider how we can control urban gardens from now on. So based on considering various roles of urban gardens, we have to secure or create new urban gardens as a tool of making sustainable cities, but we need good governance strategy and effective plan. So this is the end of my topic. So thank you so much, and I hope the time is okay. Thank you so much.